What was it like being in the studio with T-Rock and also Romeo and Antonio, the kind of chemistry you guys have? What was that like?
That was our first album on a major label, so it felt hella good, man. It finally felt like, you know, this is our time. You know, we got to make this album the best damn album ever. You know, this is us, this is all of us. We had a budget. You know, we had a little apartment out there, had a little car and stuff. I mean, everything was going well. Everything, everything felt good. It was like a dream come true. And it inspired our music. You know, you feeling that good. Your imagination and your inspiration and stuff is at the top of this game. So we was making a lot of songs, man. We was dedicated, man. A lot of guys, they would have studio in the morning and be up partying all night, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And mind you, studio time was already paid for in advance. Some of the studios we was going to was like $400 and $500, $600 an hour.
Wow.
Okay? A lot of guys wouldn't even go to the studio. They would go late. You supposed to be in the studio 10 o'clock in the morning. They would go 3, 4, 5 in the morning. All those hours was wasted away. But me and Stuart, we had a strong work ethic, man. We would get up, crack of dawn. We had a studio the next day. We wouldn't get drunk. We'd go home. We'd get sleep. We'd do all our drinking and smoking in the studio. Instead of wasting all that stuff at night, partying, we would just party in the studio. Not too much really party, but we would get shit wasted in the studio. What was songs, you know?
How many tracks do you think you guys recorded for that project?
Well, coming out of Cleveland, we had about maybe 50 plus, songs already pre-production, pre-pro'd up already. But the studios here in Cleveland at that time was a little weaker. We didn't really have a big music scene in Cleveland, so the studio thing wasn't up to par. So a lot of that stuff had to be redone. They gave us a budget of about $175,000. We figured, let's just clean up a few of these songs, not all of them. And Romeo, he played a big part because he actually said, well, look, I would just take the songs that y'all got and just redo the beats. We had to worry about the lyrics. We had the lyrics already in our head. It was already there. Hard part was translating the instrumentals that we had, redoing them. And we had a few samples. We had some Sade, like that Careful Line song was actually the beat off Sade, Bulletproof Soul. And we just stripped it right off of her album, looped it right off of her album, and then we put our lyrics on top of that. So we couldn't get clearance for that song, so Romeo had to replay every instrument. I mean, it became fairly easy. He pretty much picked all the songs that that was easily translated. And then once he started picking up the groove and the vibe that we wanted, he started making a few beats for us. Like that Combat on Contact. Tombstone had a solo song, Skrilla.
Right.
Romeo, he made that. I think it might have been one more on it. It's been a long time. I got that CD from him, and I just heard it for the first time in maybe like 10 years. There's a lot of stuff on there that, believe it or not, foreign to me on there, and that's what's so crazy about it. Like it's like I'm hearing it for the first time, but at the same time, it's bringing back a lot of memories and stuff that's reminiscent. I mean, it's like movies is playing in my head when I'm listening to that CD. But
right. Speaking of movies, I remember you were telling me about the Wishmaster soundtrack and Make a Wish.
Oh yeah. We was in the studio, and how he got a hold of some of that graveyard shift stuff, but the album wasn't even out. Never even put an album out yet. He said he liked it, our style. He liked it, the dark, hip-hop, evil, if you will. And he was doing a movie, and he wanted a soundtrack. So we went in, we made a couple of songs. We was ecstatic. We didn't even ask how much money or none. We was like, all right, we stopped production right then and there. We was working on the song when he called. We stopped production right there, and we just started messing around with tracks and came up with some. Romeo wanted to get in, so he like, let me make a track for this. Let me make a track for this. We was like, hell no, we finna do everything on this one. We came up with a nice little track and stuff. Actually, Tombstone, he came up with the track. No, I take that back. Crazy Bone made the track for Wishmaster. He was like, this the track y'all gonna use. I was like, oh, okay. It was tight though. And Tombstone made a couple, but Crazy Bones, the track that he made, it was the one that made the cut. So, I actually made a track. It wasn't really all that good. The lyrics were good on it. The tracks weren't all that good. I knew that wasn't gonna make the cut, but so I'm not really a beat maker. But we did a couple.
So basically, then what happened with the Wishmaster track? Then that Crazy Pick. What did we end up hearing? That was that Make a Wish or?
Yeah, that was it. That was the one that finally made the cut. That was, Crazy Bones did the track on that, and me and Tombstone, did our thing, did the lyrics on that. I actually didn't like the lyrics on that one, but Crazy insisted we use that particular track. So it was too late to change it. It was kind of a deadline. When he called us that evening out in LA, he wanted us to ship it to him in the morning.
What happened with the track? How come it didn't end up making a soundtrack?
You know what they told us? They told us that he scrapped the movie, that he didn't do the movie. And I found out that he did do the movie. So that was a lie. So what I started to figure out within myself was maybe they try to negotiate something, DreamWorks at the time, he was with DreamWorks and was doing this big movie, and I think they just tried to milk him a little bit. That's just my assumption. I could be wrong, but I think they just tried to milk him a little bit. And he probably said, "Fuck it,"
Yeah.
Shit. I'm finna give y'all no more money or anything, because I think they just tried to do too much with him. And we was new. We was just coming out. Shit, we just wanted the promotion. That was promotion to us.
Yeah.
We didn't give a damn about the money. We was like, shit.
What single were you guys pushing for Still Waters, and were you guys gonna shoot a video for it?
Actually, it was Careful Line was one, and Urban Soldier was the other one. They were pretty much sold on Urban Soldier. Urban Soldier was the one. Was the biggest one, but it was between those two. It was a battle between Careful Line and Urban Soldier.
Do you know who holds the rights to your music that you did? Was it Romeo and Antonio? Was it Relativity? Who's got the Graveyard Shift music right now?
Relativity. They was our parent company. They actually were Bones. We wasn't even really signed to Bone Thugs Harmony. They was just a middleman. They sold us to Relativity Records and was just a fancy manager, for lack of a better word. They really just managed us. That's what it felt like. That's what that deal felt like. it felt like management more so than being signed with to Bone. And you know, we was Relativity Records. It was always Relativity Records. You know, contrary to what everybody believed, we was Mo Thug. That was the stamp. But we belong to Relativity Records. They own the rights to our music. Bone may have some rights, a small percentage of the rights. All of the money that was put forth, you know, that was being used for our album and stuff was coming from Relativity. I don't think Bone invested any kind of money, maybe plane tickets. But our apartment was being paid for, our car was being paid for all by Relativity. Our studio time was being paid for all by Relativity. You know, so I would guess they own majority of the rights to that music.
So then, was it kind of like basically Bone sold you to Relativity, and you guys were going to become a separate entity from Mo Thugs, still represent Mo Thugs, but you were going to be your own group on Relativity?
Yeah, that was another thing too that made me think Tombstone was assassinated, man, by Crazy, man, because Tombstone used to talk about how he was talking to the CEOs up at Relativity about a production deal. Because Tombstone was good with the beats, man. He could make some good tracks, man. They didn't, Bone, that was forbidden, man. That was like a sin. You don't call Relativity. You know, they whooped Archie Blaine's ass, like was almost in an inch of his life for calling up to Relativity office asking for money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Was your thing with Still Waters different from like Two True's album and Poetic Hustlers, whereas that was more Mo Thug, or was it kind of the same deal that they had with the labels too?
Oh yeah, they had the same kind of deal. Cause like all our budget was the same. They all gave us the same amount of money. We all pretty much the same apartment building we stayed in. They stayed in. They just swapped us in and out. You know, it was just all in one big ship, and it had Relativity on the front of it. You know, but Ball set the deal up. They were more like our handlers, more so than our label. You know, they didn't have anything to do. When we shot our photo shoot for Stillwater, it was all Relativity staff. It was all Relativity.
Right.
You know, we was getting ready to go on a promotional tour. All Relativity, sponsored. Everything was Relativity. Relativity, that was it. When they sat down and came up with the concept to the graveyard shift and our image and everything, we got with like 6 or 7 people, creative minds from Relativity that sat and told us what we should wear, what colors we should stick to, you know, blacks and grays and dark colors, and you know, they pretty much created an image for us.
What was your favorite song off the album? Was it one that we've heard, or is it still unreleased, or what would you pick as your favorite?
Urban Soldier by far was my favorite. Urban Soldier, then Careful Line, then probably Wait for Sin is Death. All of them, pretty much all of them. But my favorite was, you know, Urban Soldier was epic to me. Like I said, the production, you can just, that was a good damn song. I liked that song. Then when I heard it on the CD the other day, I mean, crisp and clear, I was like, oh, man. You know, performing that song was on stage, that felt good. Performing a song that you know is good from front to back,
Well, let's move on to some questions.